What's happening, YouTube? Jeff Robbins here. Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. So we're going to continue where we left off after we profiled our camshaft, and we are going to check our ignition timing on the 206. You need all the same tools, so if you're going to check your cam, you might as well go ahead and check your ignition timing while you're at it. The Briggs rulebook states that there's a 26-degree maximum ignition timing advanced limit, so it can only be advanced 26 degrees. So in order to check that, what you have to do is you have to line up the inside edge of the front leg of the coil to the leading edge of the front magnet on the flywheel. So essentially right there, I've got my magnet lined up with the inside of that leg. What you would do is you make sure your degree wheel is zeroed out, and then wherever your pointer falls, that's going to be your degree setting for your timing. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead, we're going to loosen up the coil, and once we loosen it, there's actually a little bit of wiggle room. So what we'll do is we'll advance it as far as we can go, tighten it down, check it, and then we'll retard it as far as we can go, tighten it down, check it, and that's going to give us our timing window in degrees for this particular engine. And there's one other thing that you're going to need to be mindful of, and that's actually the air gap between the leg and the flywheel. Briggs rulebook recommends 16 hundredths of an inch, and that's also where they would expect it to be 26 degrees with those lined up with the air gap set to 16 hundredths of an inch. So if you change that air gap, that's actually going to kind of change your timing a little bit as well. So you have to be mindful. The air gap's non-tech, so if you do change that, just make sure you fall within the 26 degree advanced limit per the rule book. So I always set it to 16 hundredths of an inch, and all I'll do is get a business card. And if you're looking at the business card, it just happens to be exactly 16 hundredths of an inch. So it's kind of a juggling act. What I'll do is I'll hold a business card under this leg, and then I'll hold a business card under that leg while I'm tightening this down to make sure that that gap doesn't change on me. I've never really played with that gap a whole lot, not sure how much of an impact it's going to have, so I just stick to what the rule book states and go from there. So there you have it, guys. Let's go ahead. I'm going to get the camera repositioned, and let's show you how to time your engine. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is zero out our degree wheel for the guy that missed it in the camshaft profiling video. So first thing we need to do is find top dead center. Okay, right there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go before top dead center, 50 thousandths, see where we're at on the wheel. We're going to go after top dead center, 50 thousandths, see where we're at on the wheel, and then we're going to split the difference and get our pointer lined up right where it needs to be. Okay, we're zeroed out. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to loosen the bolts that hold the coil. Before you do that, you're going to want to rotate your flywheel a little bit just to get the magnets out of the way. If the magnets are underneath the posts of the coil, it'll suck the coil straight to the flywheel and it'll make it kind of tough to move. So Go ahead and get those magnets out of the way before you loosen this up. This is just a 7mm socket. Okay, we're loose. So when you're looking at the coil, once you've got it loose, you can see that there's some play. We've got some play forward and back and a little bit of up and down play as well. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to push it all the way down to the most advanced setting, get my business cards underneath the legs, tighten it up, and then we'll check the degree wheel and see where we fall. And we're going to want to be real careful while we're doing this that we don't bump our pointer, because that pointer is not very rigid and it will definitely move if we bump it. So I'm going to get the card put under the bottom leg, and I like to kind of put this one about halfway up the card underneath the leg. That kind of helps it from falling out. And then this top one I like to line up right with the back of the leg. And then once you get the cards under there, go ahead and rotate the crank back to where the magnets actually start holding the business card in between the post of your coil and the flywheel. Right there. Okay, so I've got my business cards installed, top and bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push this coil as far down as I can in the most advanced position, bolt it down, and then we'll check it on the degree wheel and see where that lines up. Cards in. We're just going to simply hold this all the way down and hold it to the flywheel as well to close the air gap right up to those business cards. We're going to tighten it down. And pull our business cards out of there. And then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to line the leading edge of the magnet up to the back edge of the front post of the coil. And it's kind of just a visual thing. So right there. So fully advanced, we've got 25 degrees, dead on. Definitely within our 26-degree limit. So I'm going to go ahead and put my business cards back in, if I can. Bottom. The top. I'm going to go ahead and loosen my coil again. And now I'm going to hold it up. Now I'm going to pull it up as far as I can to the most retarded position, and then we'll check our degrees once we've got it bolted down. Cards out of there. All right, we're going to line the leading edge of the magnet to the back edge of the post. Right there. And we have 24 degrees, also well within the 26-degree limit. So I have essentially a 1-degree window, so fully advanced as far as I can go. I've got 25 degrees, and then if I retard it as far as it can go, I've got 24 degrees. So a very small window there to play with. But like I was saying before, or I'm not sure if I did mention it, I've worked on quite a few of these engines, and I've never found an engine that fell outside of that 26-degree window with it fully advanced. It's you know, always close to 26, 25, but I've never seen one come in at 27 or 28 that would get you DQ'd in tech. So with that being said, if you don't have a degree wheel, you can probably move this with confidence that you're going to be within the spec that it's in the rule book. But it's always nice to have a degree wheel just so you can be 100% sure on where you actually are. But like I said, I've never found one that fell outside of the spec. Maybe if you adjusted your air gap to a point, maybe then it may fall out of spec. But I've never really played with air gap. I've always just used a business card, 1600ths of an inch for my air gap, and that's what I've always ran. So one thing I'll mention on timing, your fully advanced timing might not always be the best for your situation. Something you kind of got to play with. The thought process I used when I tried to find my ideal timing on track, our track is pretty much wide open. We've got an extremely long straightaway. Some of the stuff that I've read kind of suggests that maybe you don't want your timing as advanced on tracks with huge straightaway, and if you had a track with maybe a bunch of turns without a huge straightaway, maybe you want to go a little more advanced. It's just something you'll have to play with and find out what your engine likes, but there's really not a whole lot of adjustment you can make there. But yeah, there it was, a 1 degree window on this engine from 24 to 25. Okay guys, so I hope that helps when you go to set the ignition timing on your 206. Not a whole lot of adjustment there, but with these engines we don't have a whole lot of adjustment, so every little bit counts. So definitely find what works best for your engine and your track, and yeah, see if you can get the most out of your engine. So in the next video, I've got this box of parts here, and I'm thinking that we should do something with it. I've got some ideas on what I want to try to do to this thing. Couple things I need to get done before that. I need to get something welded. I'm horrible at welding, so I've got to get someone to do some welding for me, and then I've got to find a way to mount this block to something so that it doesn't move. My workbench is pretty beat up, so I'm thinking I may just sacrifice my workbench so we can mount this short block directly to my workbench. But yeah, stay tuned for that guys, and until then, plan your race, race your plan, have a good time at the track.